Okay, great. Okay, well, I think we'll jump in. We'll do some introductions, and then we'll get started for the evening. We want to use our time efficiently, and we're really excited to see so many folks have joined us this evening. So thank you again. My name is Catherine Holden. I'm the Associate Principal at Ashland Middle School. And with us tonight, we have two teacher leaders who will be presenting. Alex Rocher is the AP Economics teacher at Ashland High School. She's going to be doing an orientation to Canvas for us. And Brittany Hardy is a math teacher at Ashland Middle School, and she'll be supporting the presentation and has also done a lot of work this summer to get to know this program and to help our teachers learn it. Also with us tonight, we have Jim Westrick, who is a school board member for the Ashland School District. We're really grateful that he is here tonight to be a moderator for us and help run this meeting smoothly. We're grateful to have you here, Jim. We really appreciate your time. And yeah, thank you for joining us.
Great, thank you, Catherine. I'll just be moderating tonight in the sense that I'll be looking over the Q&A and trying to jump in with a parent perspective. I do have a child right now who's at Ashland High School, two others that have graduated. And as we get started, I just want to acknowledge that this is not where any of us wanted to be right now. This certainly is not the start of the school year that we hoped for, but I think given the data that we're seeing and the numbers that we're seeing, especially in Jackson County, this is probably the most sensible way to start the school year. And because of that, we all have a lot of learning to do. We've all been learning a whole bunch of new stuff over the summer, as you'll see tonight. One of the things that I want to ask you, and if you were here with us yesterday, this will sound familiar to you, but I just want to emphasize that what you're seeing tonight really is the culmination of weeks and weeks and weeks of work from your child's teachers, your child's principal, all staff members, education assistants, and every one of these people are doing the same thing that you're doing. They are trying to juggle a whole bunch of different things in their lives. Our teachers, especially our staff members, they have their own families, their own kids, and their own health that they're also trying to all keep juggled and balanced as we move forward. And so in the coming weeks, as things get stressful, as things maybe seem a little bit overwhelming, and I think they certainly do to me from time to time, when those times happen, I just want to ask that all of us extend, especially to our child's teachers and principals and staff members, extend to them whatever kindness you can, whatever patience you can, because they are working awfully hard to try and make the best of a very bad situation. Because the bottom line is that not one of us asked for the reality that we're in right now. But I do know that every single one of us is trying to make the best of it. And so with that in mind, I'm going to send it back to Catherine. I'll start looking at the Q&A, and we'll learn a little bit about how Canvas is going to help us get through the first part of this school year. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to do a short orientation as we get started here to kind of give us a sense of things. One is how we arrived at Canvas. So, Canvas is a product that we researched after our experience last spring. In the spring, we used Teams, which was a product that was available to us through our Office 365 accounts. Teams ended up being a little bit of a bumpy road. We did our best with it. We had to kind of jump in fast and furious. People worked really hard to get to know it in a very, very short amount of time. I remember at one point, one tech person said, this is something we would normally roll out in probably like an 8 to 12 month period. And we jumped in the matter of literally 2 weeks. And our teachers really showed some awesome fortitude and being able to be resilient and flexible during that time. But we weren't sure that that product was exactly the right product for Ashland School District. By the end of the spring, we were able to finish the school year. We felt like we learned a lot of things along the way. Teachers did make the best, I think, of the situation. They were starting to use Teams more like a learning classroom. And they were, able to finish the school year in a way that felt like they were able to produce some learning and some teaching. But what we really wanted to do was find something that was going to help us our much more smooth sail this coming school year. And we knew that finding the right product was going to be a big piece of that. So we researched a number of what's called learning management systems. We had a committee that got together and had demonstrations from a number of product providers. And as we started to look at some of the different pros and cons, we realized that Canvas really felt like it was going to be a product that was going to allow us to do a lot of the teaching and learning that we wanted to do with our students. So some people have definitely asked, what is a learning management system? That is a phrase for a product that really is designed to be an online classroom. Some of these products can also be used in tandem with a brick and mortar school, but they provide a space where you can really put your content, your materials, your assignments. Students can access those materials and content easily and interact with them. And then they can turn in those assignments and teachers can provide feedback on those assignments in a really seamless way. Teams, on the other hand, is more of a collaboration platform. And it really is a tool that is used between companies and management and employees who are trying to coordinate with each other. You know, Office 365 first produced Teams to be that product, and then they sort of branched off into education. I think they've done fine with what they've been sort of trying to accomplish in the short amount of time that they've been using Teams as an education platform. But Canvas is really a product that was designed from the ground up to be a learning management system. So the designers of this product were thinking about classrooms from the beginning. Tonight's agenda is going to have 3 parts. We're going to briefly continue the introduction and share a few resources with you. Then I'm going to turn it over to Alex, who's going to do an orientation of Canvas and the dashboard and sort of the areas and things that you want to think about as you start to get to know Canvas as a product. One thing I do want to emphasize is that tonight is definitely not an instructional event. We're not trying to teach you every detail about how to navigate this site, but we do really just want you to sort of have an introduction and an orientation that'll start to make it more familiar for you and your students as you get going with it next week. And then the third part, we will save some time for questions and answers. Like Jim said, you're welcome to put those questions in the Q&A box, and we'll be reading through those and looking for some themes and making sure that we get to some of the most common asked questions, particularly about Canvas. And from there, we want to share just a few resources with you. We want to make sure that families are aware of these resources. And so we're going to, hopefully these things will be helpful. We do have a couple picture slides. You're welcome to take a picture of these, of course. We will post this information on the district website and the school websites as well in a portal that we'll introduce in just a little bit. But we did want to just call this out. Some of these things might be helpful to have at hand. As you might be aware, the Ashland Fiber Network was a great supporter of our community in the spring. They were able to provide free internet service to a number of our families who didn't have an internet service provider at that time. And they have decided to extend that same offer that they did in the spring, which is for any Ashland School District staff member or any Ashland School District student in our district area. They want to extend free internet to you if you are a new customer and you don't currently have internet service. So reach out to them. They make it very easy. They just want to know that you're connected to the school district, and they'll provide that service ongoing until we do resume in person and full time. A number of our families have already responded to the registration form that was sent out, I think, a couple weeks ago. So devices are currently being deployed. The district is really prioritizing getting devices into students' hands. And this year we know that we want to prioritize making sure that each student has a device that they can use throughout the learning day. So we know that in the spring, a number of families were trying to juggle their resources and their devices, and that sometimes 2 or 3 students were trying to share a computer or an iPad, or even sometimes students and parents were trying to juggle their device in order to meet both school needs and work needs. But we have really invested in some of our resources. We're still waiting for some of those resources to arrive. As you might know, some of the shipping has been delayed throughout the summer, but we really want to get devices into students' hands. So if you were not able to fill out that registration form for your student yet, that's okay. We just need you to then contact your site administrator and let them know that you still would like to be on that list, and we will reach out to you and connect with you so that you can be put on the list to pick up a device from our tech department. Our district support is strong, and we know that we will need to really help people through this learning as we go, the first few weeks particularly, but also ongoing. If it's really a Canvas situation where you're trying to find something in Canvas, or if you're trying to turn something in Canvas, or you're not quite sure how to navigate something in Canvas, you really do want to reach out to your teacher and be able to kind of troubleshoot with them, ask questions. Teachers can even screen share. So that's one way to sort of address some of those Canvas specific things in the beginning, because sometimes it might just be that you're not seeing something that they posted on one of their pages or in one of their assignments, and that'll be a quick way to resolve that. But we also know there will be a number of tech support needs, whether it be the device itself or whether there's something about logging into something. And we do want to provide that support as well, and that's more at a district level. So we have both the tech support phone number that you can call during the school day, and there's also an online support request ticket that I'll show you when we go to the portal that you would fill out, and you would state your need, and then you would get a response to that shortly. So this is our distance learning portal access. Basically what the pathway that you want to think about though is that you will navigate to your school website. So you can go straight to the Ashland High School website. And then under the quick links, which is a box that has been there for a long time, it's on the kind of bottom right corner. It's similar to where our student portal has been posted. It's not on there this moment. So I know last night we had a few folks who wanted to test that out right here in the moment, and they went there and let us know that it wasn't there yet. So I do want to just preempt that. It hasn't been posted yet. It looks like we'll probably launch it tomorrow or the next day, but you will see a link there that says Distance Learning Portal. And once you're in that portal, there's a number of resources. So this is the portal. Can you see that, Brittany? Nope. Let's see. Let's make sure it's shared all the way. I want to see if the portal is actually in front of us right now.
You can still see the PowerPoint.
Okay. I think because I was sharing just my PowerPoint. So these are things that we've been working with all week, but we still have moments where we have to toggle back and forth. So this is the portal that'll open up. As you can see, there's a login area. So that's a great pathway. If you're needing to get to Canvas, you can go to this portal. You can log in right here. You don't need to necessarily remember the login page address. But then again, you'd want to bookmark that address so that you're able to get there more quickly. There's a parent portal that Alex will talk a little bit more about and kind of give us a sense of what that'll look like down the road. And then here's the need help box on the right, which has both that phone number again, and then also this submit support ticket. And that would be what you would click on in order to be able to access a form that would allow you to ask for some help. There's also a number of resources on this page. Frequently asked questions, the recordings, for example, last night's recordings and tonight's recordings will be placed on here so that people can go back and watch these resources. And this is where we'll continue to build a strong repository of support. So I'll jump back to the PowerPoint for a second here. And we'll finish up on this part. The other resource that we really wanted to point out to folks, because this might be something that you and your student even start to access this week and throughout the weekend, if you want to get a preview of Canvas and the many tools that are part of it. This website, community.canvaslms.com, has some great resources, and really you just need to follow this pathway. At the top menu is the word knowledge, and then you click that and you can see the word Canvas. And then you can go to the videos, and the videos are these really, really helpful 2- and 3-minute videos that really are targeted for particular tools within Canvas. So you can easily go there to watch one about the text box and how you would use that, assignments, the calendar, all these things that you'll get introduced to tonight. You can watch these short videos and get a better sense of them even before school starts. And this is just a visual of that website. So when you do put in that address, you'll go to this knowledge second option, and then you'll want to scroll down. I think they even moved Canvas up in the last few days, so it's closer to the top here. But when you click Canvas, you're able to get to the videos very easily. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alex and have her give you an orientation.
Is this a good time to jump in quick with just a couple clarifying questions where we've been seeing maybe a nice breaking point
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks, Jim.
The first thing, I think I've seen several questions. I know there's a lot of questions about summer homework. I know none of us, we don't want to walk into, to class, attend class Tuesday morning and all of a sudden hear it, oh my gosh, it's all due or something. That's not the case, right? Your teacher will tell you on Tuesday how and when the summer homework will be turned in and when it's due. So I don't stress out that all of a sudden Tuesday morning, they're going to say, oh, where is it? We should have gotten it. That's not the case. Am I correct in saying that, Alex?
That's right. I think many of the teachers probably most of them are going to have students submitting their summer homework in Canvas. And so students will need to learn Canvas before they can upload that summer homework. So I think we're going to get to know everybody and meet each other and get to know Canvas. And then I'm sure your teachers will let you know exactly how to submit that work. For my students, it won't be until after the first week of school.
And then a couple quick reminders, especially for people who may have joined us late. That is some of the things that we've been talking about are not yet loaded on the district website. So we're talking about a link to get to the distance learning portal. That's not there yet. So you might go and might not see that. So a couple of things we're talking about are going to be posted to the website in the next day or two. So you may not see them right now if you're multitasking. The other question I think is important too is just about how Canvas works with PowerSchool, works with School Reach, works with all these things that our heads are spinning for. I know for me as a parent, it can feel a little overwhelming, all these different things. And so maybe just a second about how these tools work together and make sure we understand that Teams is gone for parents and students.
Yeah, Alex, why don't you take that one for the high school?
Sure. So we're going to be using Zoom as our video platform. It's how you're going to be able to communicate with your teacher, and your teacher will be able to see you. And those links are all going to be on the home pages, which I'll show you in just a minute. And in Canvas is where you'll find all your lessons. You'll be able to interact with it either real time with your teacher, or if you're unable to make that lesson for some kind of reason, it's the same place that the teachers are going to post all of their resources, where they're going to post videos for you to be able to interact with class after class. And it's also going to be where you upload all of your assignments. In addition, there will be tons of communications coming out of Canvas, both for students and for families. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that too. But essentially, Zoom is going to be your video platform. Canvas will be where you're interacting with your teacher. And then PowerSchool is where your grades will be. And so you can still look to PowerSchool to find out how you're doing and what your grade is in class. But if you want to check to see if you submitted something, that would be Canvas.
Excellent. And the very last thing I'll toss out there, because I know for a guy like me who's very type A, as this first day of school gets closer, I start getting a little bit more tense. And I want to reassure everybody that we're all going to be getting, myself included, will be getting an email from the school district in the next day or two that tells me what the first day is, how we're going to attend school virtually the first day of class, who we're going to meet, all that stuff. So we don't have it yet, but we'll be getting an email in the next day or two that tells us exactly how to start the first day of school on Tuesday.
I think for the high school, there should be some information already coming out on their social media platforms and a website. So if you don't have something soon, you'll have it one way or the other.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks, Alex.
Okay, so time for Canvas. All right. So I'm going to take you to what is called the dashboard. So this is what your students will see. These are, before I get into the nitty gritty, these are the course cards. So I have a whole bunch because I'm been helping putting this together this summer and as we kick off the school year. But for example, this might be geometry, and this will be your English class, your advisory, your Spanish, your band. And so students are going to have a course card for each of their courses, and we'll look inside those in a little bit. But let's talk about what's on the left here. So on the left, you will have your account. And if you click on your account, for students, you're going to see two really important things. The first is notifications. And so Canvas really likes to talk to you. It wants to send you emails all the time. It wants to give you all the information every day and multiple times a day. So you can choose to click on those notifications and then select which ones you want to turn down a little bit so that Canvas isn't flooding your inbox with information. The second really important one is the settings link right here. So in settings, you can add in contact information in addition to whatever the school already has on file for you. And that's from the student perspective and from a parent perspective. So there are two different types of accounts. There's the student account, which all of the kids will be getting hopefully this week. And then there, you can also ask for a parent or observer account. More details are going to come out exactly how you request that soon. But as a parent, you'll be able to see assignments. You just won't be able to interact with the assignments. So from a student perspective, you'll be the one in there interacting with content, answering discussion questions, taking little quizzes, submitting your assignments. But from a parent perspective, you'll be able to see what those assignments were, but not actually interact with them. So again, this is on my profile, my picture, your students, and you can personalize your own Canvas to have your picture of your choice if you like. But the two main things here are notifications that you may want to turn down a little bit, and then settings if you have a different email address or you want to link your cell phone to get text messages. All of these things are here in the profile. So moving down from the profile, this is the most important one, I think, is the dashboard. So it looks like a little speedometer. So if I click on the dashboard, it takes me back to here, which is where I have all my course cards. So your student will have all of their classes here, one course card for each class. And then also if you click on right below the speedometer, the dashboard, you can see all your courses listed out in hyperlinks if you prefer to look at it that way. And before we leave, I also want to show you the calendar. So I think that the calendar is probably one of the best parts about Canvas. Instead of having to search through your different course cards and look for what assignments are due on a specific date, you can go to the calendar. So I want to show you what it looks like. It takes a little minute to load up, but you'll have your week, month, agenda, which is daily view. You can look at a month view, or you can look at the week view. And so what you'll notice is that the different things that are due that day will show up. Your teachers can put their Zoom links in here as well and ask you for appointments. Your teachers can post quizzes or different events that you can attend. Their office hours can be posted here. Let me show you from a different course what that might look like. So this is our teacher training course, but what I really want to do is grab the calendar from that course because I want to show you, oh, it's not doing it for me. Okay, well, the important part was that if you look over on the right, you see all these different colors for advisories, for CCR, for Sandbox. All of your assignments are going to be color coded to which class they are due for. And even better, you can actually click on them and they will take you directly to that assignment. So this is a great way to say, did I do what I needed to do today? Everything that was that had today as its due date, and also to see upcoming assignments. All right, so that's the calendar. And right below it, you have an inbox, which is an in-house communication system. So you can email your teacher directly from Canvas and they can communicate with you directly from Canvas as well. All right, so let's go into a class. All right, we're gonna go to AHS Canvas Family Night, and I click on that link, and when you click on that link, it takes you to your teacher's homepage. For those of you that have students at the middle school, you'll notice that this is very similar. That was deliberate. We wanted you to have a similar experience of where to find all your information from your teachers in the same way in both schools. So both AMS and AHS look kind of the same. So you'll see your teacher's picture and their email address. There's also their office hours listed there, so you know when you can go get some extra help, and their Zoom links. So at the high school, we have two. We have our office hours Zoom link, and then we have a class Zoom link. So a student can say, hey, it's time for geometry. They can go to their geometry course card and click on it, and they can find their office hours or their class link, Zoom link directly from there. So if it was time for geometry, you click on class lesson in geometry and away you go to your class. Also on this page, you can find some other links that are great, some announcements if teachers want to push out really important due dates to you and just give you little nudges and reminders or an update. They can do so on announcements. You'll notice that I have an announcement right here, shows up right at the top of the page. So you can so the students will get reminders in this way. You can also see modules, which we'll talk about in a second. That's like the meat of the course. That's where our units are going to be stored. You can find the course syllabus, and you're going to be able to access old lessons that you may have missed or want to revisit. And you want to watch it again. You'll be able to see them again on a videos page. So let's check out, oops, it's not here. Okay, there should be a big button here that says start here, but we're going to go to modules, which is where it would take you. So modules are going to be the place where your teacher has the majority of their content stored. It might be a day, it could be a module. For example, this teacher created Thursday and has all of his lessons listed here. This is Mr. Stonewood. And it's great. I'm going to show you in a second. Or it could be a whole lesson that might range for a few days. This is my first lesson. So those of you that are my AP Econ students, you're going to get a quick preview. Let's check out what it looks like. So often your teachers will list out all the things in that unit or that day, so you know what is expected of you and you can check it out. So in this lesson, we've got a welcome warm-up, some assignments, a recap, and then homework, and also the learning goals. Mr. Stonewood has hyperlinked these assignments to those pages. So if you wanted to interact with them directly from here, you could, but if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a next button. So if you click next, it'll tell you what to do. So in this case, you're doing an assignment and you're going to submit things in a text box. So Canvas allows you to interact with it in a bunch of different ways. One is to type directly into Canvas for your answer. So in this case, you would do that, which I will show you from a student perspective momentarily. You also will have links to exterior content. So things that are not teacher made, but come from different websites. Those videos will be embedded within your assignments, and so you could watch that. And then there's some homework here. All right, I'm going to take you through my lesson. It's set up a little bit differently. So in this lesson, there's a slideshow. This is the full PowerPoint that has all these lessons embedded in it. For example, here, students are going to watch a video about the tragedy of the commons, and then they're going to reply. So this would be an example of a student reply. And then the teacher can go in and give you feedback directly. So sometimes discussions might be threaded. Students can comment on each other's and help them build arguments, or it could just be a discussion with the teacher. Moving on. Here's another example of assignment. So in this one, the assignment is hyperlinked and students are gonna type their answer in a text box. So I'll show you that in a minute. Sorry, I feel like I'm taking up too much time here. And this one is an example of an applied learning activity. So this is something that would start with the teacher direction, but then would move to breakout groups. They're using, it's a scarcity assignment and kind of allocating resources for economics. And so essentially they're going to be building a zoo, but they're going to be doing that on their applied learning time. They could do this on paper if they wanted, so they're not looking at the Zoom screen. They could take a second and move away from that online Zoom and then come back at the end and share out what they've accomplished.
You're doing great. You could still take a good 5 minutes or so if you want to show from the student view, or
yeah, I do.
Can I jump in real quick and just maybe ask a couple questions that I've been seeing pop up? Sure. We've talked about Canvas sending alerts and emails and things like that. Is that to the students? Do the students have? Do they need? Here's the question. I'm sorry. Do they students need to use their Ashland email addresses, or can they use their personal email addresses?
No, everything is Ashland. So the same email address that they used last year. If they're a freshman, you're going to get some information about ASD Connect just to remind you in case you didn't interact with that directly. But through the high school, everything should be their Ashland ASD Connect email address. Yep.
Excellent. Great.
And trying to get to student view here, but struggling.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll answer one more question. There was a handful of questions about schedules and having the right classes. That will be something you'll want to reach out to your counselor about. I know they're still working on schedules. They're still making changes. So there's still flexibility in some of that. So, but that would be something that you would want to email to the counselors at Ashland High School, and they'd be able to help you kind of understand the process about making some of those changes. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this is a spoiler alert, but the first day of class, when we come back, everybody comes back. It's not freshmen only, but the entire high school comes back on Tuesday, and you're going to get a chance to meet all of your teachers and get a quick, hello, and get to see who they are and see their smiling faces and how excited they are to see you. And so you'll be able to see all 6 of your teachers. If you are taking a 7th class, which you can do asynchronously, which means you can't take it during the normal school day, but you could add a class if you like, you should email your counselor and let them know that that's something that you're interested in. You probably actually have emails from them asking you if that's something you're interested in, but you should reach out to them if you do want to take a 7th course. All right, so very quickly, This is an example from the student view. You'll notice that there's less stuff everywhere. From the kids' perspective, it's a lot more streamlined than it is from the teacher's perspective because we have lots of options as we are creating assignments. So here the kids have their announcements, their modules, which again are their units or their day's work, the syllabus, and then Canvas does integrate with both Google and Microsoft 365. So you'll be able to submit assignments in both of those ways if you choose. And so again, there should be a button here that says go, but I'm going to go to my modules. And from a student's perspective, I'll load really slowly. It's thinking. For example, if I wanted to go to this assignment 1, it's going to tell me at the bottom, or it's going to tell me that I want to submit my assignment. And it kind of feels weird that you have to click that first, but if you want to submit your assignment in Canvas, you first click on the Submit Assignment button, and then it'll give you a space to actually submit that assignment. So in this case, I can type my text directly into this assignment, and then I would submit it when I'm done. Another thing that's great about Canvas is you have the option of resubmitting. So if you thought about that for a while and you were like, you know what, actually, I think I have a better answer, you can actually just resubmit directly in that assignment if the teacher enables that. You can also answer in a variety of other ways. So teachers can enable you to give a video response. They can ask you to do like a little quiz or a poll directly in Canvas, and you can do an audio recording, you can take a screenshot, you can take a picture and upload that. So there's a variety of different ways that you'll be interacting with Canvas and answering questions for your teacher directly in Canvas and then uploading materials to Canvas. I think that's pretty much all I got to start with. Do you want to do some questions?
Yep, that's a great overview. Thank you, Alex. I want to there's a couple here I think we can get off the list pretty quick. A few people have asked about that login information, as well as even just getting that ASD Connect email address, especially if you're new to Ashland High School, even as a sophomore or junior, certainly the freshman, like Alex said. That information is going to be sent district-wide, I believe even tomorrow in an email. So they were putting that together today. That will actually have new password credential, as well as your login username, which is the first name dot last name at asdconnect.org. So that email address is your username to be able to access Canvas, and there'll be information about your password. That will come in an email, and it is customized for your student. So you do want to look for that coming out to you. We're going to also get it in the mail as quickly as we can, and that'll again be personalized. So really look for that, because that'll be an important piece for you to be able to start to log in. But really, like Alex was saying, just getting to the Zoom, kind of first period Zoom on Tuesday morning is your ticket to success, because then you can connect with your teachers, and your teachers will be able to walk you through some of those next steps.
For students, we're actually going to be doing this whole Canvas thing together with our advisory teachers on Wednesday. So you don't have to do Canvas on Tuesday at all. All you need to do is click on that Zoom link, and you will be taken, which will come out on an email, and that's going to come to, you're going to be able to access your teachers, say hi to all your teachers, and then on Wednesday, you're going to be learning how to interact with Canvas, and then Thursday will be the actual kind of real first red day of the year.
And Alex, that answers a great question, as people were asking about how are students going to learn really the nuts and bolts. Tonight isn't about how to use Canvas. It's really just letting us know what Canvas can do. And I think it's important that the students are going to be working with the teachers. The teachers are going to spend plenty of time. It's a very soft start to bring people up slowly and make sure students know how to use it. What's the best way for parents to learn more about Canvas?
So there's going to be information coming out from the district about how parents can access or guardians can access their role in Canvas. But as far as onboarding and getting to know how that works, Brittany actually created these amazing student modules that every kid is going to have a chance to access and be taken through, so they understand how to interact with Canvas from a student perspective, and they feel really comfortable going into quote unquote the real school week when they actually are going to be submitting things for their teacher. But more information from the parent side will be coming out soon.
And there is one more question, but similarly, if you just want to continue to sort of get used to Canvas, those videos that we talked about at the community.canvaslms.com website, Like I said, they're pretty bite-sized. They're not customized to the exact Ashland template, but they do give you a really good sense of the tools that you're going to be using within Canvas. So like I said, even last night, I got an email from somebody who said that literally during the webinar, their student had gotten in and was already watching the videos and was already starting to feel better. So just getting yourself used to it can, I think, go a long way for starting to feel comfortable.
Yeah, we'll certainly take some time, and that's where the patience part comes in, to know that we're not all going to get it right away. It'll take some time. A quick nuts and bolts question. I've heard from several people now a little nervous about the device they have at home. Does everybody have to have a laptop? If they just have an iPod or iPad, is that okay? If they just have a Chromebook, is that okay? Is there any device that won't work that we should be aware of?
I think Google Chrome is going to be your browser of choice. There is an app for Canvas for Macs, but it's going to be accessible either way. I think that there's pros and cons to both iPads or tablets and computers, but no matter what device the student has, they'll be able to interact and submit assignments and access Zoom with their teacher without any problem.
Excellent. So Chromebook is okay, laptop is okay, iPad is okay.
Yep.
A phone might be okay, but that's a really small screen. I don't know if they'd want to use a phone. But
I think for if the assignment is to upload a screenshot or something like that, that's fine. But I think really having either a tablet or a laptop is going to be critical as the assignments get more in depth as the year goes along. And so I think if a student does not have one of those two items, that reaching out to the school-based tech or the website that Catherine was showing earlier and submitting a ticket and getting on a list to get that device is going to be important.
Great, thank you.
There was one quick question just around, do assignments automatically get entered into the calendar?
Yes, so as soon as a teacher creates an assignment, they have the option of deciding its due date and then also releasing that assignment for view. So I know a lot of our staff are working furiously creating these amazing lessons, and they might have, next week's lessons already or next 2 weeks' lessons already created, but they may not want to put those or make those available yet to students because they want them to do the first week's assignments first. So they might be available, but they're not going to show up on the calendar until the teacher decides that they want to release them to the students. I personally have had lots of kids that just want to race ahead and get everything done. So rolling those lessons out in a timely manner is something that teachers are going to want to do. But yes, it's going to be visible on the calendar, not on the day that it's assigned, but it's going to be visible on the day it's due.
So that calendar square can act as sort of a checklist for making sure you've completed everything you needed to for that day.
That's a great point, Catherine. If you look here on the left, or the right of my screen rather, you can see the to-do list. So students will get a running list of things that need to be accomplished over here. If it feels a little overwhelming, there's no way to turn it off, unfortunately. So just maybe leave your Zoom faces over top of it if you don't want to see it. But there is another place that they'll be getting information. So not only the calendar, but there'll be a running to-do list over here on the right.
And below that, there'll be a little feedback section. So when you turn work in and then your teacher provides feedback on that, you'll be able to see the feedback like you've gotten feedback and it pops up right down below. So that's another really useful thing to find on the homepage. That's
a huge upgrade from Teams, where students had to research back into their assignment and open up a whole bunch of different windows in order to find that feedback. So it's going to be front and center for students to be able to see right away.
Another quick nuts and bolts question, not exactly Canvas related, but I know parents are a little nervous, maybe kids, about do they need particular materials for class, books or things like that? Should they be worrying about that before the first day of school, or just wait until the first day of class?
No, not at all. Unless it's a summer homework from your AP teachers, there are honors, some honors math classes where they already know what they should have been doing all summer long. That teachers are in the process of making these dynamic, awesome lessons, and they are gathering things that they want to have available for students as far as paper copies or textbooks or other materials. For example, you might be in some kind of class that needs manipulatives, and those things will be either available for pickup at school or actually delivered if necessary to individual homes. And so I know Carl Kumper is hard at work with the logistics committee, figuring that all out with Amy Cork, our librarian. And I'm sure that they will be getting information out to parents as soon as it becomes available.
Great. We've had just a couple more questions. I want to review it for a second. So the portal is a place that you can get to through your school website. So you can go to Ashland High School, and then under the quick links box, which is the lower right corner, there will be a link that says Distance Learning Portal. And that's kind of your ticket into the resources. That's also a place you can log into Canvas. That's a place where parents will be able to log into their observer accounts, and then also access the help ticket. So, a few people asked, how do we access Canvas? That portal will be a great place to do that. And then also, for example, these recorded webinars, if you have folks who weren't able to attend tonight and they want to watch them, or if you want to go back and watch it again, we'll get those recordings up as soon as the portal is up, and make that accessible to everyone.
I think the major takeaway should be, once you're logged into Canvas, all your classes are right here on course cards. And if you click on that class, you'll find your Zoom link to your teacher. And everything after that is going to be, I think, a lot simpler.
Right. So it sounds like at the high school anyway, if we're looking for attendance or grades, we're looking at PowerSchool. If we're looking for homework, for assignments, for worksheets, for reading, even for lessons that have been recorded and we want to play back because we loved it so much we want to watch it again, then that's on Canvas. And Zoom is just the app that we use to do the video conferencing. And that's why it's really easy to put a link to Zoom right in Canvas. They're technically two separate things, but it makes it nice and easy to just click the link, you're in Zoom, and Zoom is just what we use to do the live meetings. So really, Canvas is that whole repository. That's going to have everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some classrooms in the past, you'd go in, remember teachers on the wall would have all these little folders for kids. That's where they'd pass back papers, and that's where you could get stuff if you were absent. Now that's Canvas.
It really is a pretty amazing upgrade from Teams. Instead of having to scroll through to find the thing that you remember being posted a long time ago, everything is going to be on the calendar. It's going to be organized in their courses, in those modules, in an accessible way that students can interact with.
I think it's a good time too. I want to reiterate, because I'm seeing some themes in the questions, and to make sure that parents understand that I know this is a lot of technology, this is a lot of screen, this is a new system, but the focus really is on the individual at the high school. I know all the teachers, I've been sitting in services with teachers for the last 2 weeks now, or a week and a half, and the focus really is on that personal connection. It's harder when you're doing it over a screen, certainly, but we don't want to lose that personal connection. We don't want to lose that social emotional component of the classroom. And that's where teachers are really working hard to establish that. So different teachers will do things differently through Zoom, through Canvas, through things like that. But I do want to reassure people that the focus really is still on the human beings and not just on this piece of technology. It's just a tool to get there.
I can also speak to the fact that our calendar, our red-white schedule, has time built in for those social emotional connections. We're going to be doing office hours where kids can make appointments and be able to interact in small groups or individually, get some targeted support. And there's also advisory where a lot of that information and social emotional time is going to be able to support students with all of their needs.
And I think that's a good point. I think for all the levels, right? We're all, even for the teachers, mental health is connecting with kids and being there for our kids and reaching out to our kids and having that social interaction is going to feed all of us. So we all know that we don't want to live in a world where it's all about the computer and the assignments, but just being able to connect. I know the teachers in the last week and a half being able to come back together as colleagues, even though we've been doing it virtually, has really fed all of us in a way that has felt healthy and appropriate. And then we know that our kids are also missing and craving that as well. So that'll be the focus for teachers across the district, is to prioritize that connection.
Mm-hmm. And really to try and bring down the stress level as much as we can. I know for me as a parent, and I think for a lot of teachers, especially in the last couple of weeks, it feels a lot like drinking from a fire hose. There's just an awful lot to try and take in at once, and it's overwhelming. There's no doubt about it. And that's where I try and just sit back and take a couple of deep breaths and remind myself that everybody feels this way. No one chose this. We're all doing the best we can. And then just, make myself another cup of coffee and try again.
Mm-hmm. There was a question, Alex, about will there be letter grades this year, or is it still pass, no pass like it was in the spring?
far as I know, it is letter grades, and I'm sure that Mr. Bell let us know if that is not the case, but my understanding is that we are, in that case, at least back to normal for next year.
Yes, and actually I'll just confirm that the Oregon Department of Ed does have some guidance around that. I think in the spring, we were on kind of a different end of the spectrum where it was so sudden, it was so abrupt, and that was one strategy. Districts and even state guidance sort of gave us as an option. But as the summer has progressed, we really, recognize that it's so important for our students to be engaging with their education, and we don't want to be sending a message that this is kind of optional, and that really having those accountability measures and giving students feedback and holding them accountable is so important for their education. So yeah, as far as I know, it's going to be standard to have letter grades at the high school again.
Wonderful. I'm seeing a lull in the questions, and so we're seeing some very specific ones about technical support and things like that. I don't know if we can go into right now, but I think the main idea is that if we haven't already, we'll be getting an email pretty soon about really how to handle Tuesday and Wednesday, the first couple days of school. And at Tuesday, Wednesday, our kids are going to learn how to handle Thursday and Friday, and we're going to work our way from there. So we don't try and think too far in the future as best we can. We will get what we need and kind of trust the process.
Mm-hmm. And maybe I'll address this one. Just again, this is kind of a district answer, and it'll adjust to the different level needs. But one person just asked, will kids need to be online from the start of the school day to the very end of the school day? And both from the guidance that we've gotten, but also our priorities as teachers is to not have students sitting on Zoom listening to a teacher talk at them for the entire school day. We know that that's not going to be stimulating enough. It's not going to be healthy for our bodies. So really there's two categories of teaching and sort of activity development that everyone across the district is thinking about, which is teacher facilitated time, which is certainly valuable because that does allow our students to receive instruction and directions and be able to understand what they need to do and be able to understand where to find it in Canvas. But then there's another category called applied learning. And so we're really asking our teachers to think about the balance between that, and applied learning might very well look like time off of the computer, time away from the computer, time off of Zoom, but where students are then applying their learning to do research or to do a project or to do deeper level thinking about content area or to do an assignment like they would in a regular brick and mortar school. And that those can be, so within that learning block of say 85 minutes at the high school, part of that time would be teacher facilitated and part of it would really be applied learning. And that during applied learning, the students could still reach out to a teacher with a question or be able to get a little support, but it will be a time that they're not necessarily expected to be sitting, right on Zoom, raising their hand, answering questions and listening to the teacher. So we're all really working to find kind of that balance for both ourselves as educators and then also for our students.
A quick nuts and bolts question. I've seen a couple questions now. Will students be required to have a webcam?
I don't think so. I don't think that is a requirement for participating. Obviously, your teachers love you and miss you and want to see your smiling faces or frowning faces or just your faces. And so I hope that if it's possible to get a webcam from the district, that would be what I would recommend doing, because it's nice to see your friends and your friends see you and helps to build community. But it's definitely, I don't think, a requirement that you need one. I think from a teacher perspective, we would love to see you though.
Yeah, and I think there is certain participation. I do know in those kind of district-wide expectations, there is the desire to have students visible on the screen. Of course, we understand there might be exceptions for that, but that would be a conversation with them and their teachers and kind of understanding why it is. So I know just in conversations throughout the summer with the Schooling Through COVID committee, there is sort of a hope that that will be our way of really engaging our students. But like I said, we know that sometimes accommodations are needed. If it's a matter of just having a webcam, like Alex said, the district would like to support you with that. And so that would be a resource to reach out for, so that that doesn't become the obstacle for your student to be able to engage in the way that we want students to be present. And I think, yeah, we're wrapping up our time here. Again, maybe Alex, there were a few more questions, I think maybe folks who didn't hear a little bit of the beginning, but in terms of getting that Zoom link for that kind of first day moment, where is it that some people were wondering, will it be posted somewhere? Will it come in an email? So if you could just walk them through what the high school's plan is, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I believe the plan is for teachers to reach out to their students with their Zoom links via email. So if you do not yet have your ASD Connect email, that's something that we're going to want to get taken care of pretty quickly. So I'd reach out to the administration and our IT department to make sure that you can access that. For those of you that may not have looked at it since Teams back in May, maybe go back on and just refresh it and make sure you remember your password so that you can get that information via email. So email is definitely the way that things are being communicated. And you can also look for updates on the school website and on our social media. It'll be coming out in the Grisogram. And so lots of different venues to get that information. But if you're not sure, I would reach out to either your counselor or to the school in some form.
Mm-hmm. And I do think, like I said, I think the IT department is just on the verge of sending out a big customized mailing. So again, that will have your ASD Connect email address because that is your username. And then we reset passwords this year so that we could support our families through this transition. That was an important decision that we had to think about. And so, really look for, like I said, I believe, I don't know if somebody's out there watching who can confirm, but I believe it's coming tomorrow morning, which is something that you would get as an email that would have, like I said, this password, this email address that is specifically for you and your student based on their name. But like Alex said, if you don't feel like you see that tomorrow, then yes, email will be sent is what I got tomorrow afternoon. So it looks like they're just about to do that. So I would look for it tomorrow afternoon. If you don't feel like you receive it tomorrow, then definitely Friday would be a time that you could then reach out to your counselor or to your administrator, and they can see why that email didn't quite make it to you, and they'll then be able to do that for you. So, yep.
And will this email on that we're getting on tomorrow afternoon, will this just remind us to clarify, because the first week of school is always different, it feels like, than the rest of school, right, with different schedules and all that. Will that lay out for us what Tuesday looks like, Wednesday looks like, Thursday, all that kind of thing?
Yeah, I just want to don't confuse people. There's one email that's coming from the district tech department that's really about this email and password. That won't have the specifics of, say, the high school schedule or the middle school schedule. That will come from teachers. So for example, at the middle school, it will come from the homeroom teacher. I'm not sure exactly the high school, but there should, I'm sure, at least from the administration, there will be a bell schedule sent out. So
I think that's actually available on the website, if not now, imminently. So if you go over to the Ashland High School website or check the social media, I believe the bell schedule or the first week schedule is available right now.
Great. But these questions are so, so helpful because this really informs us all. I know last night it was really helpful for me to understand, where we still need to be more clear and where we can reach out. And it's just amazing to me. We have 350 participants right now. There are a lot of student names in the audience, which I really appreciate that you are logging in and having an interest in this in your last week of summer. So I just appreciate that we're seeing everybody really engaging with this. That's super helpful. We can reach a large audience like this. We can communicate consistently. I know for the middle school, and I'm sure the other sites, these webinars were such a success that we plan on doing them more often and being able to answer more site-specific questions as we move through this process. So thank you all for engaging tonight. And again, I just want to thank Brittany Hardy and Alex Rocher. They have been incredible teacher leaders in our district this last couple months, really devoting so much of their summer time to just really wanting this experience to be a good one for teachers as well as students and families. And so I appreciate their hard work. And I know we're all so looking forward to having students again. It's felt like it's been a long time, and the summers felt long, and we feel good that we're now moving into this distance learning experience. While not perfect, like Jim said, while not our preference, but with a little bit more intentional thought and a little bit more planning. And so we're looking forward to a lot of the things that teachers have been thinking about and planning for their students. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Jim, for being here and supporting us through this webinar. And we'll, like we said, this is recorded. We'll post it on the the distance learning portal and make sure that you all have access to some great resources. So thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody.